Sula, Alaba and Hernandez. Midfield, two holding players, Kimmich and Goretzka. Tolisso playing just ahead of them. And then it's Müller and Coman providing the attacking threat alongside Robert Lewandowski. And it's Lokomotiv on the ball now, on this near side, their left. Bayern, though, snuffed that one out. At the moment, play just pinging around in the midfield area until eventually there's a push by Sula on Zé-Luís. And it's a free kick to Lokomotiv. How do you anticipate these two teams approaching this game, Jenna?
I think Lokomotiv will start really compact, really have their two banks of four really compact in the middle, and just to stop Bayern really playing through them. I think Bayern will be happy with that. They'll be patient with the ball, and they'll recycle the ball around the back line and ready to pick out them passes when the spaces do become available.
Lokomotiv have it on the far side of the field. That's their right, in line with the edge of the Bayern penalty area. Bayern clear it down that far side. Hansi Flick is the Bayern coach. What a fantastic first year in charge. He's just about to celebrate his first anniversary as Bayern coach. He's already won 5 trophies: the Bundesliga, the German Cup, the German Super Cup, the Champions League, and more recently the UEFA Super Cup. It's only 4.5 weeks ago that they beat Sevilla to win that trophy. Ball is back with the Lokomotiv goalkeeper, Guilherme. Now Lokomotiv coming forward into the Bayern half on this near side, their left, making ground towards the edge of the penalty area. Miranchuk with the cross into the area, and Smolov, completely unmarked in front of Neuer, heads straight at the Bayern goalkeeper. I'm not sure whether he was offside, but Miranchuk delivered. He and Zé-Luís were both onside and completely unmarked.
Oh, he should have done better there. I don't think they'll get many of them opportunities throughout the match, and chances like that, they need to be taken. It's great work on the left-hand flank there.
Well, we know that Miranchuk is going to be a key figure if Lokomotiv can get the ball to him tonight, and that delivery was exquisite for Smolov. But you have to question the Bayern defending, allowing two players who are standing almost side by side to meet the ball unchallenged. And as you say, Jenna, chances like that may be few and far between for Lokomotiv, and they could have been in front inside 3 minutes.
Could have been the dream start for them. I imagine tonight they're going to have to, they would have planned to be capitalising on chances like that.
Ball is back with Guilherme again, the goalkeeper, vastly experienced. He's actually spent 13 years with the Moscow club, and at the moment they're looking very composed and very keen to get forward. The ball is lofted high to the near side into Maciej Rebus, and now back to Guilherme again. He clears down centre field, immediately headed down the centre by Kimmich up towards Kingsley Coman, whose goal won Bayern the Champions League last season and who scored twice on match day 1 against Atletico. He has it on the left, the far side as we look, just outside the area. The crescendo of boos ring out around Stadion Lokomotiv, and now the cheers come because the home team are on the attack again. Coming forward with Miranchuk, his progress though brought to a halt, and then Bayern send it forward quickly. Coman inside the Lokomotiv area, clips the ball in, it lands just on the D. Miranchuk is there to lift it away from danger. And now Lokomotiv again have it on the halfway line here. Good control by Zé-Luís. Worked in field by Krychowiak, and now Miranchuk. Lokomotiv far from in awe of their opponent. Smolov now to the edge of the area on the right, just cut behind one of his teammates, but again Bayern don't clear properly. Miranchuk down the right side again. Smolov, little touch in. Miranchuk though didn't have his body in the right position and lost balance, and Neuer can clear. But this is a good start Jenna, by Lokomotiv?
It's a really positive start from them. They're getting on the ball, they're getting lots of touches on the ball. Just need to look after it a little bit better in the final third, but yeah, a very positive start.
Almost 6 minutes played in Moscow. Lokomotiv 0, Bayern 0, Group A of the UEFA Champions League. Match day 2 on UEFA Champions League Match Day Live. Sent down the far side for Bayern now, who are in the attacking third, just outside the area. Coman slips it in. His target was Corentin Tolisso, but Lokomotiv get it out of defence very quickly. They have possession on their right, far side as we look, sent infield. Zé-Louis tried to dummy and allow it to go through to Smolov, but it's picked up by Müller. Bayern struggling to keep the ball in their possession. It's all a little bit untidy. Tolisso now, down the middle for Müller, out to the left, edge of the area. Coman, he's got Lewandowski in the middle. Coman onto his right foot, sent it across the area. Cut back by Müller, driven in by Goretzka. And off a Lokomotiv player for a Bayern corner.
I think Coman's just warming up now. Lokomotiv really need to keep an eye on him and stay tight to him. Don't give him any space because he can be dangerous, creating opportunities for Bayern.
Joshua Kimmich has gone off to the far side, away to the right to take this corner. Choluka's organising his Lokomotiv defence. In it comes from Kimmich. It's low to the near post, and it strikes Lewandowski, who's no more than a couple of metres from goal. But he had no time to get the ball under control, and it goes harmlessly wide of the post. Actually struck him around about the shoulder, between the shoulder and his chin. It completely caught him by surprise. Had he seen it coming, that would have been 1-0, Jenna.
Yeah, definitely. It came at an awkward height, and as you say, he couldn't see it, so he didn't have time to adjust his body and get himself in a position where he could properly attack that ball. But yeah, let off there for Lokomotiv.
Guillemé with the goal kick, flicked on by Zé-Louis, but only as far as Sula, who goes back to his goalkeeper Neuer. Lokomotiv have lost all 5 home games in UEFA competition against German clubs, and they haven't got a particularly good record of late at home in Europe, having lost 6 of their last 7. But they made a good start to this game against the overwhelming favourites.
See here, Lokomotiv are happy to let Bayern have the ball there in that half. They're sitting quite deep at the moment.
Yes, both Smolov and Zé-Louis doing defensive duties in the front line, so to speak. And Bayern having to be patient. Kimmich has come deep into the centre circle. Drives it low along the floor to Benjamin Pavard. Cross comes in, flicked into the penalty area. Müller tries to shield it from a Lokomotiv player, and eventually it's hammered in by Lucas Hernandez. And it's high and wide of Guillemy's goal. Didn't really catch that at all cleanly, Lucas Hernandez.
No, I needed to get over it a bit more there to stop it heading into the stands.
Slightly strange to see, well, not a full capacity, but so many fans inside the stadium, given what we've experienced of late. They're scattered around Stadion Lokomotiv.
That will make such a difference to the Lokomotiv players. Give them a real boost.
Well, it may have already given them a morale boost prior to kick-off, given the way they've started the game. But Bayern are beginning to have more possession, and they're doing a better job of retaining it. Pavard upfield, but nowhere near Lewandowski. Choluka clears upfield for Lokomotiv, headed back into the Bayern half, which is the half away to the right. Smolov, just inside his own half, plays it out wide to the right. Hit down the line by Zhivogliadov, but there's an offside against Ignatiev. Back in the Lokomotiv starting 11 after injury, just a touch ahead of David Alaba, and the flag went up on the far side. Pavard. Infield to Goretzka. Just over 10 minutes played. Still Lokomotiv 0, Bayern 0. Lokomotiv have had an excellent chance which Smolov didn't take, and Bayern have also come close, albeit inadvertently, from Robert Lewandowski. This time it's Lokomotiv who give the ball away. Goretzka, very direct, plays the ball out to this near side, the right, driven in first time from the right by Thomas Müller. He'll try again. This time it's a high lofted ball which is going to land right underneath the crossbar, and Guilherme quite comfortably clutches it with both hands. Zé Luís now for Lokomotiv, looking for options, turns and then clips the ball over the top for Smolov, who's onside. Hernandez in front of him. Bayern trying to reform their defence. Played back in by Ignatiev. Disappointing delivery given the position they were in.
Yeah, you expect you to do better there. There's some good work in the midfield. You really need a decent cross into the area there.
Bayern being put under pressure on the edge of their own penalty area, but Neuer clears. Now Tolisso, first time, tries to find Coman out on the left. Goretzka steps in on Ignatiev and robs them of the ball, heading towards the edge of the Lokomotiv penalty area on the left. Here's Coman, crossed in low, cleared away by Murillo, out for a throw-in on the far side. Bayern are finding their feet. Kimmich. You can tell who has possession of the ball. It's Bayern, because the boos are ringing out. Here's Coman, left edge of the area. The cross is clipped high. Too deep for Lewandowski, but not for Pavard, who from the right angle plays it square. Kimmich back out to the French fullback. On the right, crosses in, strikes Rebus and goes out for a Bayern throw-in. This is a bit more like the Bayern we know.
Yeah, they're starting to get into the game now and starting to cause Lokomotiv some problems.
Kimmich forced to go back to the halfway line to Sula. Now it's across to Alaba, moving towards the left, midway inside the Lokomotiv half. Now it's out to Kingsley Coman, right on the angle of the penalty area. Clipped in towards the far post on this near side. Pavard back in early and headed down low at the near post by Leon Goretzka. And Bayern have taken the lead after 13 minutes in Moscow. They didn't make the best of starts, but they've recovered very, very quickly. Lokomotiv 0, Bayern 1.
Yeah, that's some great play there from Bayern. Very patient play, a lovely little dink into the box. And a great header there into the bottom corner.
Terrific ball back in from Pavard on the right. Took it on the volley, inside of his foot, just guided it. Not too much power, but enough for Goretzka to divert it into the bottom corner. And the holders are in front.
Bayern flex their muscles once again in this season's Champions League, and what a start to the competition Leon Goretzka is having. In the other early match, 12 minutes gone in Kiev, it remains Shakhtar 0, Inter 0. Not too many chances in that match. Shakhtar unchanged from that heroic win against Real Madrid last time out. And remember, later on, kicking off in about 2 hours time, full match commentary of Marseille against Manchester City here on the programme, and we'll have the goals as they go in from the other 5 late matches. Mike Sewell watching Lokomotiv against Bayern alongside the former Tottenham Hotspur captain Jenna Scalacci.
Lokomotiv trying to come forward away to the left, looking to respond, but they've got to be careful not to leave any gaps. Muller is a long, long way offside from that through ball, but it showed that Lokomotiv can get caught if they're not careful. And the last thing they want to do is find themselves a couple of goals down. Here they are now on the attack, though. Ignatiev on the far side. Smolov, right-hand angle of the penalty area. He's got a runner, a willing runner out to the right, but the ball intended for Zhivogliadov didn't quite reach him. Here's Ignatiev. Smolov to the edge of the area. Miranchuk couldn't control, and Neuer uses his feet to come out and claim the ball.
Lokomotiv are putting together some good phases of play here, and it just seems to be that final pass that's letting them down. They really need to tidy that up. They're working hard, they're working very hard in midfield, but as soon as it gets to the top, they're just letting themselves down slightly.
It's been such a lively opening. I haven't had a chance to mention the change, the very late change that was made by Lokomotiv. Injury to Stanislav Makiev, in the warm-up means that Daniil Kulikov, who he had originally replaced in the starting lineup, has been drafted in to start from the bench. So Daniil Kulikov is in. It means that in the end, Lokomotiv only made 2 changes from the team that drew with Salzburg last week. They trail here by 1-0 after a quarter of an hour's play. Leon Goretzka with the goal, a player who's been in excellent form in the year 2020 under Hansi Flick. Really come through under the new coach and been a key figure in that midfield. I thought he was excellent in the UEFA Champions League final. And he's got the goal tonight, a really good header from a Pavard cross as a high foot catches a Bayern player.
That'll be a painful one. I don't think it was intentional. He just went for the ball, and it's definitely a bit too high there.
Zhivogliadov lifting his boot up and catching Hernandez in the face. So a yellow card for Dmitry Zhivogliadov of Lokomotiv. And how Fyodor Smolov will be ruining that early chance he had after 3 minutes, where he was given the freedom of the penalty area only to head straight at Manuel Neuer. Bayern have a free kick out wide on their left. It's just in from the touchline. Muller and Lewandowski are trying to make it awkward for Chorluka. In it comes, but that's not in the slightest bit awkward for Guilherme, who claims it easily above everybody's head. 17 minutes gone in Moscow. Lokomotiv 0, Bayern 1.
Double chance for Inter in Kiev against Shakhtar. Excellent save to deny Romelu Lukaku from Anatoly Trubin, the young goalkeeper. It came out to Nicola Barella on the edge of the box, controlled a half volley. It hit the crossbar. Brilliant effort from the young Italy international, but it's 16 minutes gone in Kiev. It's still 0-0 as Inter attack again, and Romelu Lukaku scoops one over the crossbar. Inter completely on top, but it remains 0-0 there, Mike Sewell.
Bayern have it with Joshua Kimmich playing in a central midfield role alongside the goal scorer Goretzka. The ball is though at the feet of the Austrian international David Alaba. Moving forward down the far side, the Bayern left. Tolisso, crossfield ball with a bit of curl on it. Reaches Pavard just outside the area. He strikes it. And the ball is headed away by Chorluka. Visions of the 2018 World Cup from Benjamin Pavard. As he struck that ball. Goretzka from midfield out to the right, just outside the area. Thomas Muller looks up, clips it left-footed. Good ball towards Lewandowski, who couldn't get high enough to keep the ball down, and it's harmlessly out for a Lokomotiv goal kick. I wonder how frustrating it will be for Marko Nikolic, Jenna, that Smolov didn't take that early chance.
Really frustrating. He'll be beating himself up now. It's such a great opportunity. Yeah, those chances in these games, it's usually you thrive off of them scraps, and they'll be beating themselves up. But, you know, it's still early on, only 20 minutes to go. So hopefully there'll be some more chances and he can make it right.
Lokomotiv having to be patient now. Bayern in possession of the ball, just inside their own half, with Joshua Kimmich out to Pavard on this near side. Back into Kimmich again, then right-footed, looking to send it towards Lewandowski. Read all the way by Chorluka, who's going to have a busy night, no doubt, looking after the most prolific man in Europe at the moment. Lokomotiv, though, turning defence into attack. Down the right, Zhivogliadov. Low ball in to Smolov. A few metres outside the penalty area on the right. Zhivogliadov again. Just catches the ball with his boot, and Bayern steal it from him. Tolisso now in the centre circle, spins to his left and plays it out to the left. Driven in, left-footed, all the way across to the right-hand edge of the area. Beautiful first touch from Thomas Muller to bring the ball down. It was as if he had a pillow on his foot, and he just cushioned the ball as it came down in mid-air. He was in full flow as well.
That was a lovely touch, a lovely touch.
Referee Kovacs wants a word with, I don't know if it's a Lokomotiv player or a Bayern player. It's Niklas Süle for a foul on Zé Luís.
Just letting Luís know that he was there.
He's a huge presence at the back, Nicolas Sula. Lokomotiv with the ball now. Just over 20 minutes played. They trail by a goal to nil. A goal scored in the 13th minute by Leon Goretzka. And it's with Kimmich inside the Bayern half. Goretzka now has scored in each of the Champions League games in this group stage, having scored the second goal against Atletico last week. It's like a bit of an untidy challenge on Lucas Hernandez, but the referee has let play continue. In the end, though, Bayern lose it, and it's going to be a throw-in on the near side.
It's a sign of a good team, isn't it, when not just one player's scoring, they all seem to be firing on all cylinders at the minute. It's so hard to play against. It's so dangerous.
This is Lokomotiv's third consecutive season in the UEFA Champions League group stage. They finished bottom last season and bottom the season before with only one win in each of those campaigns. They lost the other 5 games. And they've only ever made it beyond the group stage phase once, and that was back in 2003, 2004, when they went out on away goals to Monaco. And they've got another tough group to negotiate this season. Not least of all, the European champions who come forward now. Coman with the cross, too close to Guilherme. And the goalkeeper, dressed in bright pink, launches it long down the right, looking for Smolov, who gets it, nods it in field. That looked like a handball by Anton Miranchuk. And indeed, the referee is obliged by him by giving the free kick.
It's good play from the goalkeeper there, looking to counter-attack early, catch them out if they can. It's how he likes to play. He's good at he's got a brilliant passing range. Looks to catch the teams out.
Plenty of experience behind that kick from Guilherme. Bayern are chasing Lokomotiv down in the left back position. Thomas Müller, in English, says to the assistant referee, he stepped on my foot. And he's absolutely right, he did. He did step on his foot. But Lokomotiv have been given the free kick. Good noise coming from the Lokomotiv fans inside the stadium. 8,000 of them in there. A third of the capacity, or just under a third of the capacity. Free kick against Lokomotiv. It's a Bayern set piece. Zé Luís, the offender this time, barging into Goretzka. Next up for Lokomotiv is another home game against Atletico next Tuesday. They're coming thick and fast. Salzburg away is Bayern's next encounter, as Coman heads towards the edge of the Lokomotiv penalty area. Tolisso clips it over the top to the right. Unmarked is Pavard, plays it in exactly the same way as he did for the Goretzka header, but this time Kingsley Coman hits the foot of the Lokomotiv post. It was an almost identical cross from Pavard, and an unchallenged Coman tried to carefully place it in the corner. He didn't hit it cleanly, and it hits the post.
Yeah, I think he just miskicked that slightly. It's almost like it's come off the top of his ankle, but a great little side-footed volley in. It's the first time I've seen them really playing direct by Munich there. So yeah, that was great play, and unlucky there just to skim the post.
Lokomotiv on the attack now. We're past the midway point of the first half. In it goes early. Good touch. Really good touch from Ignatiev. Brought the ball down, almost swiveled with the ball. But then the shot was lacking. It was a cross-come shot which Smolov was trying to get on the end of.
So it's 1-0 to Bayern. It remains 0-0 in the other early game between Shakhtar and Inter. Inter have had so many chances. Another opportunity for Nicola Barella just a few moments ago, and a header wide from Danilo D'Ambrosio when Romelu Lukaku almost collided with him, and the ball just went the wrong side of Anatoly Trubin's post. Still goalless, but Inter really are dominating that game, and if it carries on like that, it will be amazing if it's goalless for too much longer. You're listening to UEFA Champions League Matchday Live with myself, Chris Parrott, the first of two commentaries from the Russian capital. Mike Schull and Jenna Scalacci are watching Lokomotiv against Bayern.
And it's Bayern who have it just inside the Lokomotiv half. Pretty evident, isn't it, Jenna? The fact that Pavard has put in two crosses from the right where he's not been picked up, identical balls in, and really Bayern are beginning to threaten from all areas as Tolisso guides it to Muller, out to the right. Pavard again on the half volley this time, launches it, and Guilherme had to watch that hanging ball that eventually drops beyond his far post. Sorry, Jenna.
Yeah, definitely, they're looking really dangerous out on the flanks there. So as you say, twice and then nearly a third time there. I think they need to address it, and address it quick before they get further punished. They are playing some really dangerous football from the wide areas.
So after a slightly shaky start where Lokomotiv could have easily taken the lead inside the first 3 minutes, Bayern are in front here and have also hit the post. And they've won the ball back around the halfway line, unable to keep it initially. Ignatiev has played it through, no flag against Zé Luis, but you can always rely on your sweeper keeper, Manuel Neuer, to come out and cover. That looked offside, but it may have been that quick.
Notice Lokomotiv are winning a lot of the second balls in the centre of the park, and there was just a good example. They won it in the middle of the park and just played over the top. You know, as you mentioned, the keeper sweeper, that's what he's so good at. He was alert and sniffed out the danger.
Bayern have it again. Süle, right-footed, high to the far side where Coman is waiting. Guides it into the feet of Lucas Hernandez, and it's played square to Kimmich. Forced to go back slightly under pressure from Smolov. And then good work by Ignatiev initially, but he then turns into trouble. Kimmich just outside the Lokomotiv area. On the left, clips the ball in. Muller, first time, couldn't guide it towards Corentin Tolisso. But again, another player free on the right side of the penalty area. As you say, Jenna, something that Lokomotiv need to address. Their left back is Maciej Rebus.
Yeah, it's
Polish
Pavard
player.
again. Pavard again, he's looking very dangerous out there.
Both these teams came into this game with contrasting results at the weekend. Bayern 5-0 winners at home to Eintracht Frankfurt. Lewandowski with a hat-trick, whereas Lokomotiv looked tired, as you might expect from the game against Salzburg last week, in their 2-1 home defeat by bottom club Roter Volgograd.
It's a little too eager there from Kalman.
It's going to be a free kick to Lokomotiv inside their own half for that foul by Coman. Almost half an hour played. Lokomotiv 0, Bayern 1. Leon Goretzka's goal in the 13th minute. Lokomotiv have it on the halfway line. In the end, it makes its way through to Smolov via a couple of Bayern players. Krychowiak is then tugged by Goretzka. And Krychowiak turns and roars at Goretzka for a quite cynical challenge.
Yeah, good play there. You can see he's protecting the ball to draw in the foul.
Krychowiak, incidentally, was sent off in that game against Roter at the weekend. So he won't be playing in the game against Sochi this Saturday. Bayern have a trip to Cologne in the Bundesliga. Quick free kick taken on the left edge of the area. Smolov trying to get into a shooting position. The ball falls. Zé Luis nearly marched through the Bayern defence. But that rapid free kick nearly caught Bayern out.
That's a great idea. It's almost like it was a disguised pass. Bayern weren't set up and they caught them off guard.
Well, even though Bayern have come to the fore after that early start, Lokomotiv is still getting into good positions.
Yeah, they're still playing really positively, and a few times they've caught the back line. It's almost like they're switching off, and if they carry on, I think maybe they will get some more chances. But yeah, Bayern Munich backline looking a little bit sluggish at times.
Early ball forward by Choluka to Smolov, who was backtracking and trying to control it at the same time. Bayern clear, Coman. It's quite an open game, this, and it's pinging from one end to the other. Pavard, central this time, goes square to Kimmich. Right-footed, he delicately lifts it to Hernandez on the left. Into Coman. He comes out to the near side, the right. Pavard, about 5 or 6 metres outside the penalty area. Then it's Kimmich to the left again. Hernandez moving up to the angle, now at the D with Goretzka. Manoeuvring for position, cuts it into Lewandowski. Right edge of the area, he lays it off, and in the end, it's hit high and wide by Joshua Kimmich.
Yeah, good play by Bayern there. They're switching the play, really patient. You notice there all 4 of the Lokomotiv players step up to close the ball, and then it leaves that space behind for Bayern, who were offside that time. But they need to be really careful with that, not everyone going to the same ball.
Bayern were in fact offside from that initial ball to Lewandowski, but only just. Süle back to his goalkeeper Neuer, who apart from that Smolov header, not really been troubled. Pavard into Tolisso, now Muller. Süle again. This time it's over to his central defensive partner, David Alaba. Now Hernandez to Tolisso, playing just in front of Kimmich and Goretzka in that Bayern midfield. And then Muller, who plays pretty much wherever he wants. The Raumdeuter, as they call him, the space interpreter. Such an effective player, Thomas Muller, and has been really rejuvenated by the appointment of Hansi Flick. Süle over the top, looking for Goretzka, lays it to the right edge of the area. Muller, I think he was trying to guide that to the far post. Offside, though, and it's going to be a free kick to Lokomotiv.
I think Muller thrives in that free rein role, and he's built such a strong partnership with Lewandowski. They're just dangerous altogether. The whole front line, they're so dangerous.
Thomas Muller, he's now 31 years of age. This is his 117th UEFA Champions League appearance. It's the highest number by any German player in the competition. 117 for Thomas Muller, as Murillo is brought down by Benjamin Pavard. Just stepped across the Brazilian and concedes the free kick.
Yeah, good play for him there. I think he knew exactly what he was trying to do there.
Neuer just keeping a close eye on things. Hansi Flick screaming some instructions from the technical area as Lokomotiv have this free kick. Krakowiak, he drives it in, it goes way beyond any of his teammates, and Bayern can initially head it away, but only as far as Zhivogliadov on the far side. He comes infield, Choluka, then who's leaning backwards has to head it forward. Now it's with Rebus on this near side for Lokomotiv. Miranchuk, who we haven't seen a great deal of since the first sort of 5 or 6 minutes. It was his ball into Smolov early on which almost paid dividends, but he hasn't been on the ball enough for Lokomotiv. Anton Miranchuk, whose twin brother Alexei is now playing his football for Atalanta. Just over 10 minutes left of the first half on UEFA Champions League Matchday Live, where it's Lokomotiv 0, Bayern, the Champions League holders, 1. Goretzka, the scorer. Tolisso, midway inside the Lokomotiv half. They're attacking the goal away to the right, Bayern. Kimmich intended that ball to reach Hernandez. It eventually does reach him. And eventually the cross strikes the head of Zhivogliadov. And Bayern have a corner from the far side of the field.
I think it was lucky for Lokomotiv there that ball didn't go through to Hernandez. Could have been in a really dangerous situation.
So Bayern, along the likes of Müller, Lewandowski, as well as Goretzka and Süle, whose presence will be felt. Played in right into the heart of the Lokomotiv penalty area, close to Guilherme's goal. Rebus clears down the near side, just gets it forward away from danger. Well, the header down by Alaba wasn't a good one, but then the pass from Miranchuk didn't reach Smolov, and it's good recovery in the end by the Austrian.
Yeah, just too much on that pass there. Just need to protect it a little bit better. Play a better pass into your teammate there.
Bayern have it with Lucas Hernandez on the far side. Bayern have had almost 2/3 of the possession so far in this game, and they have one goal to count towards that. Remember, 13 consecutive victories in UEFA competition. That includes the Super Cup win against Sevilla last month. And they've reached the quarter-finals or further in 8 of the last 9 seasons. Goretzka looking to add to his earlier goal. He's got 2 already in the Champions League this season. Out to Pavard on this near side, infield to Müller. Crosses in, straight at Guilherme. 1 or 2 of the deliveries have been a bit disappointing from Bayern, aside from the ones from Pavard. They've kind of made it quite easy for Guilherme.
Yeah, really disappointing. You want to make the keeper work and the defence work, but just handed to him there. Didn't really have to do much work.
Out to the far side, Zhamogliadov. Now Choluka, nice bit of footwork from the Croatian. Out to the left now, right into the feet of Smolov. Doesn't even have to make an effort to bring the ball down. Now Krakowiak, just outside the area. He was about 22 metres out, struck it with his left foot, but he pulled it badly, Jenna.
Yeah, totally scuffed that shot. I thought he could have taken maybe an extra more touch. He had lots of space in front of him. But yeah, I think he's just scuffed over the ball there. He'll be disappointed with that effort.
I mentioned a moment ago about this being Thomas Müller's 117th UEFA Champions League appearance. This is his 545th competitive match for Bayern, and he's now drawn level with Klaus Augenthaler. And there are only 2 players ahead of him, the legendary Gerd Müller. His namesake is the leader with 565 appearances. You suspect that the other Müller might well overtake him at some point, possibly this season.
Incredible stats.
Lewandowski, ball taken off his toes by Krakowiak. Early long ball seeking out Zé Luiz, but out comes Neuer, uses his head as he stoops to pass it to Alaba. Now it's with Pavard on the near side. Infield, centre field that is, Tolisso. Can't find Müller. Lokomotiv work the ball quickly down the left. Zé Luiz is going to need some support. Miranchuk's in the middle. Smolov is deep on the far side. Zé Luiz holds on to it on this near side. In from the touchline, towards the edge of the Bayern penalty area, but uncertainty, hesitation, and a lack of decision really on Lokomotiv's part, meaning they have to start again from defence with their captain, Choluka.
Definitely. I think when they find themselves in positions that are high up the pitch, it's important to protect the ball and just hold it up until you do get the support. I think they tried to rush into a corner, and luckily for a rebound, he got the ball back. But yeah, they need to really protect it and do better in the final third.
Rebus from the left into the Bayern area, headed out by Alaba, Coman, and then Goretzka, who's then robbed of the ball, but Alaba sweeps up. Back it comes from Lokomotiv again. Ignatiev was complaining that he has his toe caught by a Bayern player. Nothing given. And with 5 minutes left of the first half, Bayern come away with it, looking to extend their lead. Out it goes to the left-hand side. Coman just outside the area on the Bayern left. Back it goes to Kimmich, out wide to Hernandez. Plenty of white shirts in the middle if he needs them. Hernandez steps in. Going to go it alone here. Lucas Hernandez to the edge of the area. Pavard strikes. Got behind it, but it was straight at the goalkeeper.
Yeah, really good strike from Pavard, but right over the ball. But as you say, just straight into the goalkeeper.
Good work by Hernandez, who managed to, with a little bit of fortune, make his way across the Lokomotiv back line. Another free kick in Lokomotiv's favour. Goretzka with the infringement. That's not the first time Leon Goretzka has brought someone down. Here's Lokomotiv, right edge of the area. Zé Luis lays it off. Ignatiev now, back out wide to the right. So Zavogliadov back in, now into the area goes Kulikov. And Neuer wasn't quite sure where that ball was heading. He got behind it, but not that convincingly as it came fizzing across his goal. From Daniil Kulikov. Did he touch it, Neuer? No, I don't think he did.
It looked like it was an awkward bounce right in front of him. Good work from Lokomotiv.
They did actually get the corner. There was a touch. Didn't look like there was much deviation on the ball, but it must have clipped the gloves of Bayern's goalkeeper. Chorluka comes forward as Miranchuk takes the corner from this near side, the Lokomotiv left. Chorluka heads it back to Miranchuk, just outside the area, onto his right foot, crosses deep to the far post. And it was easy for Neuer in the end, despite the expectant roars of the Lokomotiv fans. And Bayern have sent this ball very route one down the middle, looking for Kingsley Coman. And I think Kukoviak thought the referee was one of his teammates, because the ball was played to him quite deliberately. In the air it goes. Kukoviak gets in the way of Muller. And then Zavogliadov. And now Smolov down the right, get the ball away. Bayern straight on them. Kimmich, free kick to Lokomotiv. Chris.
Free kick to Inter, right on the edge of the penalty area. It's 0-0 against Shakhtar. Romelu Lukaku steps up. He's hit the crossbar. Well, that's going to rattle for the next 10 minutes. He blasted that onto the bar, and Inter still can't score. Nicola Barella hit the bar in the, well, about 20 minutes ago, and Romelu Lukaku's just done the same. Fantastic shot. Very unlucky. I think the keeper got a touch. It's a great save. It remains Shakhtar 0, Inter 0 in the other early match.
Well, not good news in terms of Lokomotiv Moscow, because their captain, Vedran Chorluka, is currently sitting on the turf complaining that he's pulled his hamstring on his left leg. And that is not a good sign. Any kind of hamstring will almost certainly end a player's participation in a game, and it means that Lokomotiv are more than likely going to have to make a substitution just before the break. 2 minutes left to half-time, and Chorluka, the captain's armband is already off his arm, so he isn't going to continue, and Lokomotiv are going to have to make a change. He looks a frustrated figure. It was when he jumped on the edge of the area to head the ball back down to Miranchuk, and he just pulled up. It was very innocuous, Jenna.
Yeah, it didn't look like there was much in it, but you can see the minute he lands, he's holding his hamstring there. It's a massive blow for Lokomotiv. He's such an experienced leader. He shepherds that back line for them. So yeah, massive blow. I think now it's really important they get through these next 2 minutes and just get into half-time and regroup.
They haven't yet made a change. The change will come, you assume, with a minute to go to half-time. Lokomotiv are the team coming forward at the moment, and they have it.
They need to be clever now.
To be safe.
Yeah.
Play it safe. There's only a minute left to go to half-time. The last thing they want to do is concede a second goal, because they are very much still in this, even though Bayern have threatened on several occasions, but Lokomotiv themselves have been in good positions.
Created some really good chances. They played some good football.
Kukoviak has dropped back in alongside Murillo in the heart of the Lokomotiv defence, just a cover for Chorluka. The ball has gone dead on the far side, but still no substitution being made by Lokomotiv. Maybe they're going to hold out until half-time. It seems a slightly dangerous thing to do against a team of Bayern's calibre.
Yeah, it's a very risky decision.
But everybody in a green shirt is behind the ball. Smolov is playing in a midfield position at the moment, and it's Zé Luis who's just staying the further forward of the Lokomotiv players as we move into the only minute of added time. So Lokomotiv have 50 seconds or so to hold out. as Bayern have it midway inside the host's half. Out to the left, Alaba looks up, sends in the cross, headed by Tolisso, who was unmarked. That's the problem that Lokomotiv invited by not making the substitution. The extra man left Tolisso free, but he couldn't guide his header at goal.
Yeah, let off there, Lokomotiv.
How would you assess the first half, Jenna?
For me, I've been quite impressed with Lokomotiv. I think they've created chances. I think they've come out at the beginning the better team. They looked definitely more up for it. Bayern, for me, they're taking care of the ball a lot more better. They're looking a lot more dangerous out in them wide areas and clinical. They've had their one chance and goal, and they've scored from it.
The referee's whistle goes to bring an end to the first half in Moscow. A half which began with a very promising chance for Lokomotiv. Fyodor Smolov, though, didn't take it. And Bayern punished them 10 minutes later through Leon Goretzka's header from a Benjamin Pavard cross. Coman then hit the post from a similar delivery by Pavard as Bayern took control of things. And then Lokomotiv lost their captain, Chorluka, just before the break with a hamstring injury. But at half-time, it's only Lokomotiv Moscow 0, Bayern München 1.
Mike Sewell, thank you very much. Intriguing half there. The other early match is into added on time as well. 2 minutes of it, and Romelu Lukaku has it midway inside the Shakhtar half as he tried to play the ball into Ashley Young on the left wing. The ball eventually does bobble through to Young into the penalty area, tries to cut it back towards the edge, and Marcelo Brozovic, and it goes out of play for an Inter corner. 1 minute of the two remaining, 0-0 in this game. Lukaku has hit the bar. Nicolo Barella has hit the bar as well for Antonio Conte's Inter Milan. They've been the better team. Shakhtar, who lost Dentinho to injury, have brought on Tyson already, but it's a very young side, as it was 6 days ago when they shocked Real Madrid. They were 3-0 up at half-time in Spain. Goalless as things stand, but here comes that left wing corner, and it's in towards Lukaku. It's punched away by Anatoly Trubin. Comes out here to Ashraf Hakimi, who's such an attacking fullback, but he loses that ball. Shakhtar clear their lines, not conclusively. It's been a much less polished performance tonight from them than it was against Real Madrid, but here they come. Long ball forward, looking for the run there of Tete, and it runs through to Samir Handanovic. You could hear the crowd there because we have supporters in Kiev too, including a small pocket of Inter fans who have somehow popped up in the Ukrainian capital. The referee blows his half-time whistle though. Well, Inter on top, but they can't break down this stubborn Shakhtar side as the two sets of players walk off in the Olympic Stadium in Kiev. It is Shakhtar 0, Inter 0 at half-time.
You're listening to UEFA Champions League Matchday Live.
Well, a very entertaining first 45 minutes of football on this Champions League Tuesday. 6 matches to come later, but in the early games, as you heard, it's 0-0 in that game in Ukraine, and it's 1-0 to the defending champions Bayern against Lokomotiv Moscow. Your commentary team, the former Tottenham Hotspur captain Jenna Scalacci and Mike Sewell. Jenna, pretty competitive, and one massive chance for Lokomotiv before Bayern took the lead. The champions have not had it all their own way at all.
No, it's been a really competitive match. I think had they scored that early on chance, their spirits would be lifted and they really would have taken the game to them. But I think they'll be pleased with their performance so far. They haven't just sat back and defended for 45 minutes. They've actually gone at them and created some chances. I think they will be disappointed of their final passes in the final third. A lot of passes have just gone, you know, haven't been good enough in that area. But I think the one thing they do need to look at in the second half, where they are playing so compact in their own half, they're leaving the space out on the wide flanks, and that's where Bayern are creating a lot of chances. That's
where the goal came for Leon Goretzka, Mike Sewell. Lokomotiv changed coach in the summer. Legendary man Yuri Semen left. Marko Nikolic has come in, and I was reading, certainly in the Russian press, saying how he has altered the style a little bit. They are a little bit more attacking. And I think we've seen that in the opening 45 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's quite well put, because he is not going to say we're coming here, we're trying to get a point out of this game. He is saying that we are going to try and win a game, even though it's against a team of Bayern's stature. We're trying to win every game, and that's a good positive approach from Nikolic, who really hasn't had particularly high-profile jobs in the past. I mean, he's coached in Serbia, his home country, Slovenia, Hungary, and it's they're fairly big shoes to fill. I mean, Yuri Semin had was it 4 spells as coach of Lokomotiv, and his CV is just packed with success. So he's coming in at a very difficult job in a way, and I think it's going to be hard to change things. But on this performance, in general, they've been very positive. I think the only worry is that they have left gaps at the back. You mentioned Pavard. He put the cross for Goretzka, was then almost replicated a few minutes later for Coman, who hit the post. And there have been several occasions where players, particularly in Rebus's position, the left-back position, there's been space to exploit. But again, I mean, Lokomotiv have come forward, and I just wonder whether, had Smolov had that chance after, say, 15 minutes, when he was a bit more warmed up and a bit more in the game, you know, and had a feel for the game, maybe the chance came just that bit too early. Yeah, and he is a striker of some pedigree, the Russia international. Yuri Semin, by the way, didn't really want to leave the club in the summer, and he is arguably Lokomotiv's, well, one of the greatest characters in their history, and he's really made them into a powerhouse, competing with the likes of Spartak and CSKA in their own city, and of course Zenit, who have been excellent in Russia recently as well. So Marko Nikolic will be pleased enough with what he's seen. Jenna, you were a defender in your days at Tottenham Hotspur, so is Vedran Chorluka, but him going off, how big a blow is that for Lokomotiv? Yeah, that's a massive blow. He's a big player for them, as well as their captain. He's a leader, he's got that experience, he's played against top players in leagues all over Europe, so he's a big player for them to lose. They will miss him in the back line now, but now it's up to the guys to come in, get together, and they need to take the game to Bayern. Interesting to see who they bring on as well at half-time, given they ended that first half with 10 players. Jenna, Mike, thank you very much for now. We'll be back with you for full second-half commentary of Lokomotiv Moskva against Bayern. Later on, we have another commentary match. It is Marseille against Manchester City. Extended updates on Borussia Mönchengladbach against Real Madrid. And we'll have goal updates from the 4 other late matches. Atletico hosts Salzburg. It's Porto against Olympiacos. Atalanta against Ajax, a first ever Champions League game in Bergamo for Atalanta tonight, and Liverpool host Midtjylland. Let's look ahead to that game in southern France first of all. In a moment we will hear from Manchester City's Riyad Mahrez, but first of all, here is the Marseille defender Dui Chalitata.
City is one of the best teams in the world, and it will be a big test, not just for me, also for us to see how we are going with the best teams in the world. So we are really happy about it, and really excited also to start the match tomorrow, and of course to fight with the best teams.
It's going to be a tough test, like all Champions League games anyway. I know a bit Marseille because I follow the France, the league. It's a difficult team to play against, and yeah, it's going to be tough. Champions League games, there's no favorite. Even on the papers we can be favorite, but we have to show it on the pitch. So it's going to be difficult. There's no favorite.
Richard Kaufman will be your commentator for this one, and the team news is already in, Richard.
Yeah, it is very interesting team news it makes as well, because they've kind of gone down the Lyon model, have Olympique Marseille for this one, because they've gone with 5 at the back, 3 centre halves, and interestingly, no Benedetto or Payet. It was considered it was going to be one or the other in the predicted lineups in many of the newspapers in France this morning, but Andre Villas-Boas hasn't gone with either, and Radonjic and Thauvin are kind of like the mobile strikers, if you like. So very interesting team news there. So 3 centre halves, 5 at the back, and no out-and-out striker, which, when you consider Benedetto hasn't scored all season and Payet has been struggling for form, I suppose you can understand the tactics from Villas-Boas. Of course, injury hit for Manchester City, and their team makes interesting reading as well. Much talk about Kyle Walker being exhausted, according to Pep Guardiola in the press conference yesterday, but he starts at right back, and Cancelo, the Portuguese left back, has been left out with Zinchenko coming in. Kevin De Bruyne starts, his first start, of course, in the UEFA Champions League this season. He didn't play last week. Raheem Sterling plays the central attacker role, and it's Ferran Torres who comes in to make his first start. Of course, he came off the bench and scored last week, set up by Phil Foden. Many expected Foden to be in the starting 11, but the young English player isn't. It's Torres who gets the nod instead. So some interesting team news for you there.
Yeah, never try and second guess a Pep Guardiola team, Richard. Now, should we expect goals? Two attacking teams, and personally for you, we heard your commentary earlier of Shakhtar's win against Real Madrid, and I think you were covering a game at the weekend where one team scored 13.
Yeah, I can't promise you 13 goals this evening. Yeah, I was doing the Ajax game. Very bizarre it was as well. A little bit one-sided. I think you're fine, but no, I expect this one to be a little more competitive. Do I expect a lot of goals? I'm not too sure, actually. I mean, obviously, I hope from a neutral and a commentary perspective, we do see plenty of goals, but I look at the lineups of the two teams, and neither starting 11 between them has an out-and-out striker on the pitch. I mean, you've got Sterling up front for Manchester City, and if you like, Tovan and Radonjic up front for Marseille. So goals are maybe going to come, but I'm not too optimistic. We'll see.
We shall see. Kick-off is in an hour and 8 minutes. Richard Kaufman will be alongside Kevin Hatchard for that match, Marseille against Manchester City. Extended updates as well on another of the late games. Borussia Mönchengladbach are hosting Real Madrid, who, as I mentioned, are looking to bounce back from that shock defeat against Shakhtar in a very tough section. Rob Daly is going to be watching this one, and if we look back to last season, Rob, Real Madrid had a very bad match day 1. They lost to Paris Saint-Germain. They were then 2-0 down at home to Club Brugge on match day 2. So history has repeated itself a little bit, but they really can't afford to not pick up anything from this match, you feel?
No, of course, Inter and Shakhtar Donetsk currently playing elsewhere in this group, and I'm sure they'll have one eye on the result there. It's hard to actually know what they would want from that game, given the fact that they lost to Shakhtar in such convincing fashion in the end on match day 1. They did score late on, Real Madrid, but it was disallowed rightly for offside, interfering with play, the line of vision of the goalkeeper from Vinicius. But the Clásico win against Barcelona was absolutely huge. It was away from home, and it was also a statement performance in that many of the experienced heads in the side who had been called into question, you know, whether Real Madrid should be looking to the future, delivered in that game. Toni Kroos in midfield was absolutely outstanding. Sergio Ramos, with his clever play in the penalty area, won that penalty for 2-1 and scored it himself, having scored 25 penalties in a row now for Real Madrid. And the other player who came off the bench, as he did against Shakhtar, to score was Luka Modric, who just came on with that little bit of experience when Barcelona were reeling after the penalty. So while there is a lot of looking to the future for Real Madrid with players like Mendy and Vinicius, some of the experience heads really showed their quality in the Clásico on Saturday, and you know, Real Madrid are the Champions League team, so you do well to bet against them getting through the group.
They most definitely are, and Sergio Ramos, of course, missed that match 6 days ago against Shakhtar. You commentated on Gladbach at the weekend in the Bundesliga. For people who don't necessarily know too much about their current team, any players in particular that Real Madrid should really be fearful of?
Yeah, well, they did make 5 changes to the weekend game at Mainz, who were bottom of the table, but they needed to bring 4 of those players out of the team on to try and save the day. And I think the fact that Marcus Thuram, Alassane Plea, Jonas Hoffmann and Florian Neuhaus were rested in that game was key in telling you that they are the most important players for Borussia Mönchengladbach. And I'd put them in 2 pairs. The 2 French strikers, Marcus Thuram, who generally plays out on the left, and Plea through the middle. They linked up for numerous goals, the compatriots at Gladbach last season. Marcus Thuram, the son of World Cup winner Lilian Thuram, both really strong, really clever, and score a lot of goals. The other pairing, Florian Neuhaus and Jonas Hoffmann, both made their Germany debuts in the same game against Turkey this month, and they have been outstanding together. And if anyone saw the goal they linked up for at San Siro, which was reviewed for offside for about 3 or 4 minutes, saw one of the best goals we'll see in the group stage this season, one of the best assists we'll see. That low ball from Florian Neuhaus, Jonas Hoffmann in the form of his career, breaking through to roll it under Handanovic. It was nearly the winning goal. So Player, Thuram, Hoffmann and Neuhaus, expecting them all to come back into the team. We haven't had the 11s yet.
And when we do, we will be back with Rob Daly watching Borussia Mönchengladbach against Real Madrid. Full commentary, as we mentioned, from 9 p.m. CET in an hour and 5 minutes of Marseille against Manchester City. Before that, we have the second half coming up very shortly of LOKOMOTIV Moscow against Bayern. If you are just joining us, here's what happened in the first period.
Clipped in towards the far post on this near side. Pavel back in early and headed down low at the near post by Leon Goretzka. And Bayern have taken the lead after 13 minutes in Moscow. They didn't make the best of starts, but they've recovered very, very quickly.
That's some great play there from Bayern. Very patient play, a lovely little dink into the box and a great header there.
Well, this game is still very much in the balance. The two sets of players are back out on the pitch in Moscow. We're going to head very quickly to Richard Kaufmann. You had the team news from Marseille against Manchester City. I understand there's been a late change for City, though.
Well, I don't know if it's a late change. It's certainly a change to what I was originally given, which is just the one change to both sides. And it comes from Manchester City. And I mentioned how Phil Foden wasn't given the nod. He and Ferran Torres made such an impact coming on as subs. Torres in the starting lineup. I can tell you Foden is as well in the starting 11 tonight, preferred to Riyad Mahrez. So it's a Foden, Torres, Sterling front three for Manchester City tonight.
Thank you, Richard. Kick-off there in just over an hour's time as the two sets of players in Moscow now just stepping out once more onto the pitch. Lokomotiv have been out for a while. Here come Bayern. And we asked you before the match, our social media topic, we want your dream Champions League front threes. Loads of you have been getting in touch, and loads of you have been including Robert Lewandowski, including Brad, who pits him alongside Leo Messi and Ronaldinho. Kickoff is fast approaching here. Back to Rob Daly quickly, because the team news has dropped in that match between Gladbach and Real Madrid.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, just trying to ascertain the system, but Gladbach certainly switched back to 4-2-3-1, and sure enough, the likes of Thuram, Player, Hoffmann, Bensebaini and Neuhaus are back into the side. It's essentially the same team that started at Inter, but Lars Stindl will replace Brel Embolo in the number 10 position behind Alassane Player. For Real Madrid, Eden Hazard did travel with the squad to Germany, looking for his first appearance of the season after injury. He does not start. It's Courtois in goal, Vasquez filling in at right back due to injuries, Ramos, Varane and Mondi the back four, Casemiro, Cruz and Valverde, who scored against Barcelona at the weekend, and then Asensio, Benzema and Vinicius Jr. the front three.
Get in touch using the hashtag MatchDayLive. Kickoff is upon us for the second half of our early commentary between Lokomotiv Moscow and Bayern, in the company of the former Tottenham Hotspur captain Jenna Schillaci and Mike Sewell. A change apiece at half-time.
Indeed, it's Lokomotiv who get the second half underway in green and red, attacking the goal away to the right in the second half. As an early ball goes in towards Smolov from the right. I'll get to those changes in a moment, as it's lofted away from danger and then headed back towards the edge of the Bayern penalty area. Again, scrappily cleared by Sula to the far side and then picked off by Serge Gnabry. Actually, a couple of changes made by Bayern in the half-time interval. Serge Gnabry is on, as is Javi Martinez. I haven't had confirmation as to who has gone off as yet. The change for Lokomotiv is more straightforward. We saw Vedran Choluka leave the field just before half-time with a hamstring injury. His replacement is the experienced Serbian defender Slobodan Rajkovic. So he goes straight into the back four. As for Bayern, it looks to me like Thomas Müller may be one of the players who's gone off. As Lokomotiv come forward, Ignatiev goes down under a challenge from Hernandez. And it's going to be a free kick to the home team.
I think Hernandez had to make that challenge there. He was off there.
And the referee is going to book Lucas Hernandez. He's the second player to go into the notebook tonight, along with the Lokomotiv defender. Zhivogliadov. The two Bayern players who have been replaced are Thomas Müller and the goal scorer, Leon Goretzka. They've both come off to be replaced by Serge Gnabry in Müller's position and Javi Martinez in Goretzka's position. Interesting change made by Hansi Flick. So the Bayern team, as treatment is still being given to Vladislav Ignatiev. Bayern have Neuer in goal. Then it's Pavard, Süle, Alaba and Hernandez across the back. Kimmich and Martinez in the holding midfield areas. Then it's Tolisso just ahead of them. Gnabry on the right, Coman on the left and Lewandowski up front. Lokomotiv have Guilherme in goal. Then it's Zhivogliadov at right back. Now the replacement Rajkovic in place of Chorluka in central defence alongside Murillo. Rebus at left back. And the four-man midfield of Ignatiev, Krychowiak, Makiev and Miranchuk, with the two front man, Smolov and say Luiz. And Chorluka is on the bench watching as the free kick comes in for Lokomotiv. Driven in by Smolov, takes a deflection, but not wicked enough to divert it beyond Neuer. But another good start to the half by Lokomotiv, Jenna.
Yeah, another positive start. They've started on the front foot. For me there, that delivery, you need to beat the first man. There's no excuse for not beating the first man, but lucky enough the deflection fell into the path and a good strike.
So Bayern waiting to get permission to get Hernandez back on the pitch. They're playing in all white tonight. The UEFA Champions League holders, the defending champions, who lead through the now departed Goretzka's goal. Süle calmly across to one of the substitutes, the Spaniard Javi Martinez. Now it's with Alaba. Bayern being very patient. Hernandez is back on the pitch as Neuer is brought back into play on the edge of his own penalty area. Early ball forward, nice touch from Lewandowski, and Bayern have worked it really well down the left. Lucas Hernandez has kept it in. He's heading towards the dead ball line from the left. Clashes with a Lokomotiv player, Murillo, and the referee gives a free kick just outside the penalty area, right by the dead ball line.
It's a dangerous area there to give away a free kick.
It's almost going to be like a short corner in hockey. This free kick from Bayern, attacking the goal away to the left in the second half. Almost 5 minutes of it played on UEFA Champions League match day live. Murillo, who's taken a knock to his jaw, has also been booked for his troubles. So that's 2 yellow cards in not many minutes for Lokomotiv. And now the discussion goes on between Kimmich and Martinez. And it's going to be the aforementioned who's going to take the free kick. Bayern looking to extend their lead right at the start of the second half. Kimmich in towards the back post, headed by Javi Martinez, who was the target. They had a discussion before that ball was delivered, and it's he who gets on the end of it, but he cannot keep the header down.
Yeah, good cross in there. It's almost like he was leaning too far back. Just needed to get over it.
The ball is now on the far side, but Lokomotiv don't make anything of it. It's going to be a Bayern throw-in. Serge Gnabry back from illness. He missed the last 2 games. He is on the field as one of 2 substitutes. Later score, Lokomotiv 0, Bayern 1.
Yeah, later on in this group, it is Atletico against Salzburg, and some team news, Mike, because Luis Suarez is fit to start for Atleti. A huge boost, as he was a doubt, particularly because Diego Costa is still injured. 2 changes for Salzburg from the team that drew with Lokomotiv last week. Megan Berisha and Rasmus Christensen come in. So that's the team news from the other match in this section, which kicks off in 55 minutes time.
And as it stands, Bayern will have maximum points if they hold on or increase this lead and don't have it cancelled out by the team on the ball now. Lokomotiv have acquitted themselves well as rank underdogs. Ball played forward, and I don't think there's any question that Miranchuk was offside on this near side as it was played down the line. Marko Nikolic, the coach of Lokomotiv, was on his feet. Even though Smolov was coming back, Miranchuk was still slightly ahead of the last Bayern defender.
Lokomotiv seem to be pressing a little higher up the pitch in the second half. Now the danger that comes with that is if not everyone's on the same page, gaps do begin to become into the spaces behind the Lokomotiv. So just need to be really aware of that they're all on the same page when they do go into the press.
And the longer the game goes on, the more they'll have to commit, especially if their philosophy of going out to win games and attack teams, regardless of who they are. Smolov penalised, free kick for Bayern. Kimmich always wants to come back and receive the ball from his defenders and then try and create something. Gnabry from the right, absolutely on fire last season in the UEFA Champions League, Serge Gnabry. Martinez, the other substitute, crossed to Alaba. We're midway inside the Lokomotiv half. Now we're out on the left, near side as we look, just in the edge of the area. Coman going around the outside, crosses in low and nearly catches Guilherme out at his near post. Everybody was expecting a cross, and I don't know whether it was an intentional shot, but it was right to the near post. Now Lokomotiv come forward. This is an opportunity. If Smolov can find Zé-Luis, and well, neither player was in the same wavelength there. It seemed to open up for them, and Smolov's ball was played, and Zé-Luis wasn't aware of it, and it just comes to absolutely nothing.
See them both blaming each other there. They weren't on the same page at all.
They had that chance right at the start of the game. Smolov and Zé-Luis were unmarked in front of goal, but Smolov, who had the header, headed it straight at Manuel Neuer. That's the best chance that Lokomotiv have had as Bayern come forward again, given away uncharacteristically by Joshua Kimmich. Down the left now, Ignatiev. There are three Lokomotiv players forward here, but he just can't get the ball from under his feet. And he knew he had to play that one early. Javi Martinez did a really good job of covering, and in the end it's a Bayern throw-in.
Really good tracking back there by Martinez.
Lokomotiv finished second in the Russian Premier League last season, behind Zenit for the second season running. They're currently fourth in the table, 6 points off the leader Spartak. Here's Coman to the right edge of the box, sent in first time by Pavard. That's the third time Benjamin Pavard has been able to volley across from the right side, and he almost finds Corentin Tolisso. It's becoming a bit of a trademark during this game for Pavard.
They're identical situations. Every time it gets out to him, you know what he's going to do now. You'd have thought Lokomotiv would have picked up on that now at half-time.
Another corner for Bayern. Martinez is forward for it. Taken by Kimmich to the near post, headed into the air by Zhivogliadov, and now Smolov has it, but completely swamped by white shirts. He just didn't have time to bring the ball down. And with 10 minutes gone in the second half, Bayern are in general just dictating the play and the pace of the play. Alaba to Hernandez. These two teams meet again on match day 6, the final group match day in Munich. That's on the 9th of December. Hernandez into Tolisso. Lovely first-time football from Bayern. A little bit untidy. In the end, though, it comes out to Coman on this near side. Going down the wing is Hernandez. Coman decides to switch flanks and play it crossfield to Pavard, midway inside the Lokomotiv half. Attempted to thread that ball through to Gnabry. Krychowiak looking around for teammates, and Rajkovic only succeeds in giving it straight to Pavard. Now Gnabry at the corner of the penalty area on the right. Back it goes to Martinez. chipped into the left side now, just outside the box. Hernandez to the far post. Here comes Gnabry, who lays it to Kimmich, who should have made it 2-0. And Slobodan Rajkovic gets a huge kiss on the cheek from his goalkeeper, Guilherme, because it was he who was in the way of Kimmich's shot. That was undoubtedly heading for a second goal.
Definitely, that was in its way in. I'm unsure of how much he was actually aware of what he did there. It was a really good touch there to deny it going in for the second goal.
Well, good intervention from the substitute, Rajkovic.
That will fill him with confidence now going forward for the second half.
Well, he only signed for Lokomotiv this summer, and he'd only played 10 minutes of football for the club in competitive matches before coming on at half-time. That will give him a lot of confidence. But Bayern... Sorry, Jenna?
I was just going to say, what a game to come into.
Indeed. But they're going to have to defend. He's going to be busy, I think, for the rest of the game.
Definitely.
Although Gnabry's lost out to his opposite number, Krychowiak. The two number 7s battling it out on the far side. In the end, it's a foul by Gnabry. Free kick to Lokomotiv.
Remains 1-0 to Bayern. It remains Shakhtar 0, Inter 0 in the other early match. Now, later on, we have full match commentary of Marseille against Manchester City. The other match in Group C is Porto against Olympiacos. Some team news. Pepe makes his 100th Champions League appearance tonight. Otavia is fit to start for Porto, but there's no Luis Diaz, who hasn't made it. As expected, Pedro Martin sticks to the formation that helped Porto beat Marseille on match day 1, 4-2-3-1. One change, though. Pape Cisse replaces the sidelined Ousseynou Ba in the centre of defence. I'm Chris Parrott, and you're listening to commentary at the moment of Lokomotiv against Bayern in the hands of Mike Sewell and the former Tottenham Hotspur captain, Jenna Scalacci. Can Lokomotiv find an equaliser, Mike?
They're going to have to defend first, because Bayern have it again down this near side, the left, with Coman. Goes back a bit further to Tolisso. In turn, he finds Martinez, and Bayern reconstruct their move down centre field. Sula to Coman on the left, who lets it run into Hernandez, close to the corner flag. Played in early. Coman didn't see the touch coming from Corentin Tolisso, so it's clipped down this near side by Lokomotiv. But Zhivogliadov can only run the ball into touch. Hernandez and Tolisso exchange passes. It's eventually played back into Sula, right on the halfway line. He then thrusts it down the middle. Lewandowski, not been that prominent in the game, Robert Lewandowski. Hernandez with the cross towards Kimmich, headed away though by Murillo. Bayern really exerting the pressure for a second goal, which they should have had a couple of minutes ago when Joshua Kimmich had that chance from close range. Leroy Sané, incidentally, is warming up at the moment for Bayern. Hansi Flick didn't waste any time in making a double substitution at the start of the second half. Are we likely to see Sané before the end of the game? I think the problem at the moment, Jenna, for Lokomotiv is making the ball stick inside the Bayern half, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. They're getting it in the half, but it's what they're doing once they're in there. They need to protect it and, like you say, get it, stick it, support each other, and
try and deny Bayern at the other end as they have to defend against Smolov back on the edge of his own area. Now that's good, that's better. Down the middle it goes to Moranchuk, who waits. Zelouise is on the run. Is he onside? He certainly is. He's in the penalty area. The angle is getting acute, and in the end the shot is disappointing as it strikes Alaba, who'd backtracked all the way. It still gets some applause from his coach. That's the best move of the game from Lokomotiv, and Zelouise just held his line right. But I have to say, he delayed it just that bit too long, didn't he, Jenna?
Yeah, definitely. It was great play, a lovely pass into his path. Like you say, I don't know why he didn't get that shot off quicker. It's almost like he was waiting to be caught up there.
At the other end, Bayern are coming forward on the left. Coman, deep cross, too deep for Gnabry. Under pressure from Rebus. It's going to be a throw-in to Lokomotiv. You cannot say Lokomotiv haven't had chances, and that's why Hansi Flick is cutting a slightly pensive-looking figure on the touchline. Yes, Bayern have had almost 2/3 of the possession. Yes, they've had more attempts, but Lokomotiv have had their chances to score at least once. Now Bayern coming forward looking for a second goal. Gnabry denied by Rajkovic. Falls kindly for Tolisso. Crosses beyond Lewandowski. It'll be tidied up on the near side by Hernandez. Now Coman. Back to Alaba. Bayern very slowly but surely moving it into centre field. Kimmich. Midway inside the Lokomotiv half. Just over an hour played. Lokomotiv 0, Bayern 1 on UEFA Champions League Matchday Live. More football to come after this game, as Lokomotiv play it forward to the edge of the area, dummied by Smolov. Miranchuk. And then Kulikov to the left. Rebus just about gets the better of Gnabry. Good play by Rebus. Laid off by Smolov. This is good play from Lokomotiv. Right-hand edge of the penalty area now. Zé Luis onto his left foot. Tries to clip it to the back edge of the area. Pavard heads away. And it doesn't come to anything. And now Bayern on the counter. This is where they could be really dangerous if Lokomotiv aren't careful. Tolisso to the right. Just outside the Lokomotiv box. Pavard square. Kimmich at the D. Doesn't quite connect. You could see what he was trying to do. He's trying to lift it over the top for an on-running Tolisso, but it didn't quite come off.
You wonder how many more chances Lokomotiv can free up now without being punished.
Here's Lewandowski into the area, and he's gone down, and it's a penalty. There are no complaints. Daniil Kulikov, seemingly the player penalised. Lewandowski ran between two players, and it was Kulikov who just stepped across him. Did he have to do that? Well, what he's done is he's given Bayern the chance to double their lead.
Great footwork there from Lewandowski.
Well, it's what a good striker does. We haven't seen a huge amount of him, but now he has the chance to get on the score sheet for the first time in the UEFA Champions League this season. He was the top scorer in the last season with 15 goals. He now has the chance to get off the mark in the 2020-21 season. But as I say that, referee Kovacs is now in discussion with his video assistant referee, Alejandro Hernandez, to decide whether the penalty will stand or not, whether Lewandowski will get the chance to take it even. Referee Kovacs is intently listening to his ear. There's a thought that maybe the contact was outside the area. We've just had a replay of it. And what's the referee decided? Well, it's not going to be a penalty, we know that. I think there was a foul in the build-up. Was there not, Jenna? It seems to be the case. They've gone back to look at the penalty, and in the process have spotted an infringement before the foul on Lewandowski, which means no penalty, and it remains 1-0.
Looked to me there was a clash, and he's there.
Well, the contact was literally on the edge of the penalty area, but only they know what happened in the build-up to it. We'll try and get confirmation of that in a moment. So Bayern denied the chance to extend their lead. Coman to Kimmich, right-footed through a gap. Oh, Gnabry was trying to ghost in, but Guilherme was watching it all the way. Very alert goalkeeper, a bit like his counterpart at the other end, Manuel Neuer. Both of them at 34 years of age now.
Great goalkeeping there. He would have been in to make it 2 there had he not been off his line.
There's a bit of a dispute as to whether that's a throw into Lokomotiv or to Bayern. Bayern took it, but the referee has brought it back, and it's going to be a Lokomotiv throw. I don't know if it came off Sula, but it's been given as a throw-in to the home team. Almost at the midway point of the second half in this sprightly game. It's been an enjoyable game, entertaining game. Just the one goal, but a few chances and some open play as Smolov, in trying to stay onside, curves his run, but just curved a little bit too far away from the ball. It's Fascinating watch this, Jenna.
It really is. It's a very transitional game. It's quite end to end. I'm not sure how long Lokomotiv can keep going like this, though, without conceding at the other end, because the more they press up, the more gaps that will show.
Maybe they'll have a chance of their own here. Right-hand edge of the area, Krychowiak. His cross is blocked at close range by Alaba. Lokomotiv get it straight back, though, in centre field. Ignatiev, short to Krychowiak. Shrugs off the attentions of Alaba. Then it's lifted high by Rajkovic. Still on this near side, the right. Play to the edge of the area. Zé Luiz has got time. Has he got room for a shot? No. It's going to fall from Miranchuk. The Lokomotiv fans are desperately urging their team to have a pop at goal, but they're having to rebuild again. Smolov, about 10 metres outside the penalty area, just towards the left. Miranchuk, whose involvement in the game has increased during the second half. Clever ball out to the left. Rebus is after it. Early cross. Smolov misses it. Ignatiev with a shot. He hit it into the ground and it just popped up rather kindly for Manuel Neuer.
Some great play there from Lokomotiv. I think it's the first time this match that they've strung and kept the ball for more than 5 passes. They moved the ball, they were moving, passing and moving, and then created the space for the opportunity. Some great play.
Bayern have it, though, on the right side. You just sense another Bayern goal. It's game over. This is so delicately poised, but Lokomotiv are having opportunities in and around the Bayern penalty area. Now it's Coman on the edge of the Lokomotiv box, square into the D, gets it back, lovely return ball! And Coman should have made it 2-0. He was about 7 or 8 metres out, and he put the ball over the bar. It remains 1-0.
What a chance for Kingsley Coman. Final 2 bits of team news from the matches which are kicking off in about 35 minutes time. In Group D, Liverpool against Midtjylland. Jurgen Klopp has rested his front 3. No Salah, Mane or Firmino in the 11. Divock Origi leads the line. Xherdan Shaqiri gets a rare start. At the back, Fabinho and Joe Gomez continue to play together with no Virgil van Dijk, of course, and Alisson makes his first Champions League appearance of the season. Midtjylland one change from the side that lost to Atalanta last week. Jesper Hansen misses out, so there's a rare start in goal for Mikkel Andersen, Mike Sewell.
Here come Lokomotiv into the penalty area, they've scored! Lokomotiv have equalised, and it's Anton Miranchuk with the finish. Bayern completely opened up at the back, and it's no real surprise given the way that Lokomotiv have attacked in the last 10 minutes or so, and they get an equaliser to the delight of the home fans. At the midway point of the second half, it's Lokomotiv Moskva 1, Bayern München 1. The ball was over the top by Ignatiev for Zé Luiz, who was completely on his own. He had time to look up, he laid it short to the near post, and Miranchuk barely broke stride and very, very calmly side-footed the ball with his left foot between Neuer and the near post. It's a really neat finish from Miranchuk.
Great work there by Luiz. Is it making up for the chances that he's missed earlier on? But a great cross in and a lovely strike into the bottom corner.
Well, breakneck this game at the moment. The other end, a minute earlier, Coman missed a good chance. He was then substituted, incidentally. Douglas Costa came on in his place, and before we had a chance to even tell you that, Miranchuk was in to equalise, and with 20 minutes left, we have a fascinating finale in Moscow. Forward by Hernandez. Bayern, who had 2 chances to extend their lead, first through Kimmich and then through Coman in this second half, have been pegged back, and the score that nobody predicted could happen after all. Everybody expected a Bayern win.
Lokomotiv have been knocking on their door for a while now, so it's no less than they deserve. They've worked hard creating chances, and finally they've got their goal.
They worked incredibly hard against Salzburg last week under a lot of pressure to earn a point in that game. They needed a late goal to rescue that point, but they've scored in good time here. Well, I say good time, it's given Bayern enough time to score again, but likewise, they could easily score themselves. Who knows?
going back to that Kalman chance, had that gone in, maybe that would have written Lokomotiv out of the tie. It was almost like he hit it too well. He's trying to place it, and it went just over the bar, and off the back of that, Lokomotiv have gone on and punched them.
But here come Bayern again. Hernandez, 25 metres out, into the area, headed by, who else? Lewandowski. And into the goalkeeper's arms, and we shouldn't forget that Lewandowski was about to take a penalty as well, between the Kimmich chance and the Coman chance. 1-1 here in Moscow.
Well, what a strike that was from Anton Miranchuk. His twin brother Alexei does not start tonight. He moved to Atalanta in the summer. That is the final bit of team news for you. 2 changes for Atalanta from the team that won at Midtjylland, because Josip Ilicic and Mario Pasovic start. Mike Sewell as Bayern attack on the edge of the penalty area. For Ajax, Lassina Traore and Anthony come in place of Lisandro Martinez and the injured Mohamed Kudus from the side that started against Liverpool. And Traore really had to start, the youngster, because he got 5 goals and 2 assists at the weekend domestically. But an opportunity here for Bayern, 18 minutes to go. Mike Sewell is your commentator in the company of the former Tottenham Hotspur captain, Jenna Scalacci.
Don't go anywhere. This could be a grandstand finish in Moscow. Bayern have a free kick. It's almost in the centre, and it's about 5 metres, 6 metres outside the penalty area, so well within shooting distance for the likes of Lewandowski and Gnabry. There are no fewer than 7 Lokomotiv players, or at least 6, tightly bunched together in the wall. And Lewandowski just leans and has a look round the corner. Guilherme is on his haunches. The referee is making sure that the Lokomotiv wall is back. I'm not quite sure what he's telling Fyodor Smolov. He can be in the wall if he wants to, but he has to be the requisite position back. And what a Lokomotiv have done is what a lot of teams have been doing recently. They have a player lying across the floor just to stop any low shot. Here comes Lewandowski. It is low, it strikes the wall, and it's cleared away by Lokomotiv in desperation, to the delight of the home fans.
The wall done the job there. They stood tall, straight into the wall.
What are the odds on a Lokomotiv win here? Never thought I'd be saying that, but still, Bayern have the possession, and they've had the chances. They just haven't taken them. This game could have been out of sight had Kimmich and Coman scored, or the penalty been taken. Here is Kimmich now, down centre field for Bayern. On to Martinez. Turns towards the right side. Kimmich now. Gnabry back to Kimmich again. Pavard is trying to stay onside. Here he is now from the right. Low cross, with miskicked. And basically, now Lokomotiv have it, but Smolov handballed it in mid-flight. And it's going to be a free kick to Bayern.
It remains 0-0, Mike, in the other early game between Shakhtar and Inter. I'll let you know if there's any change in that. A year ago, Lokomotiv played Juventus here. It was 1-1 until the 93rd minute, when Douglas Costa won it for Juventus, and he's on the pitch now for Bayern. Mike, so what chance of history repeating itself for the Brazilian winger?
Well, if you're a Lokomotiv fan, you'll be hoping that doesn't happen.
Absolutely.
Fyodor Smolov, who had that wonderful chance in the 3rd minute of the game, has just been replaced, as has Vladislav Ignatiev. On in Smolov's place is Dmitry Rybczynski for a corner by Murillo, but it's been anything but, Jenna.
No, they've really come out, they've held their own, and they've taken the game to them. They're looking a lot more aggressive in their press, and they look like they're starting to believe now that they can actually get something out of this game. They need to definitely focus on keeping the defence very tight, because you can never write the top 3 off of Bayern. They're always going to be dangerous, even if they are being quiet.
Here's the corner, which looked like it was going to be glanced in by Martinez, but it's been cleared away though by Lokomotiv, only as far as the halfway line. You sense that Bayern might put enough pressure on to spend the next 14 minutes looking for a winner, but then Lokomotiv could catch them on the break, and here they are now, and Zé Luiz is through here, he's on goal, he's got a man in the middle if he wants it. Lokomotiv are in, and Zé Luiz has been far too selfish. He had an unmarked Zemaletinov in the middle, who could have easily finished it off and put Lokomotiv in front, but instead he's pulled his shot wide, and there's a hush descended on Stadion Lokomotiv, because that was a wonderful chance to win it. Now Bayern come forward, Gnabry cleared away by Rajkovic. This is pulsating stuff in the UEFA Champions League. You're listening to Matchday Live. Lokomotiv 1, Bayern 1, and Lokomotiv are in again here. Another chance. Here's a chance for Miranchuk, and his ball was curling over the head of Neuer, who had to claw it away. It may well have been going wide, but the German goalkeeper could not take any chances.
That was a big, big chance. How Luiz didn't play that ball in. It was a simple pass, and they could have been 2-1 up. Incredible.
What a second half we're having here. And if you've just joined us, it's not a coasting by Bayern München at all. Anything but. Lokomotiv could even win it, and they have a corner on the far side. Play to the near post. Rajkovic, the substitute, who's been involved in a lot defensively, has a header towards goal. You can see on the face of Marko Nikolic, the Lokomotiv coach, he's thinking to himself, we can win this, we can. And they have caught them, Jenna, haven't they?
They have. They've caught them twice in the space of a minute there with the same ball, just a ball over the top. They're playing a high line now, Bayern, so they can look for that outlook now over the top of them.
Bayern are really running the risk, but can they score at the other end to put the game out of reach? There might be more than one goal in this. There might not be another goal, but certainly on the face of it, you expect somebody to get something here. Will it be the holders, or will it be the team that so often finish bottom of their group? Is Kimmich out of the area? Good strike! Oh. It's a brilliant goal by Joshua Kimmich, turning on the D and then lancing it into the far corner beyond a stationary Guilherme. And it's all gone quiet again. Bayern München have regained the lead. Martinez played it in. It popped up off the control from Kimmich, and he turned and he swept it through the Lokomotiv defence beyond Guilherme.
An incredible strike. He receives it on the turn, a little pivot, and strikes right through the ball on the volley into the bottom corner. It's an incredible goal.
Having missed the earlier chance that would have made it 2-0, Kimmich has responded by putting Bayern back in front. 10 minutes left. Lokomotiv 1, Bayern 2. But here come Lokomotiv. They're in again. Oh, and they've wasted another good chance. And it was once more the substitute, Shemaletinov, who could have scored a goal. Chris, give me a breather, please.
I will. You can have a lie down in 10 minutes, Mike. Sure, what a game to start things on Matchday Live this evening. Bayern 2-1 up. It remains Shakhtar 0, Inter 0 in the other early match. And a reminder, kicking off in less than 30 minutes. Our second commentary of the night is going to be Marseille against Manchester City with Richard Kaufman and Kevin Hatchard. Rob Daly will be giving you updates of Borussia Mönchengladbach against Real Madrid, and we'll have the goals as they go in from the other 4 matches. And it's going to be well worth sticking around for if it's anything like this first 80 minutes in the Russian capital. Lokomotiv 1, Bayern 2, but wow, how many chances are Loco going to spurn, Mike Shaw?
Well, if you'd have asked them before the game how many chances they would probably have, they probably would have thought, well, maybe 1 or 2, we have to take them. They've had, I would say, I'd have to count up, but they've had a good 4 or 5 clear chances to score tonight, and they've only taken 1 of them. They could have themselves been in front here. OK, Bayern could also be in front. They've missed chances. They had a penalty that was initially awarded and then ruled out after a video review. It has been an incredible second half in particular, and we've got 9 minutes left of it, plus stoppage time. Hansi Flick can't relax, even though his team have regained the lead, because Lokomotiv have it inside the Bayern half on the far side. They want to take this throw, and Rebus wants to take it. He does in the end. Place it short to the Lokomotiv goal scorer, Anton Miranchuk. And now in the end, Rajkovic goes all the way back to give everybody a little bit of respite.
I think at the beginning of the match we were talking about Lokomotiv getting half chances. They've had clear-cut chances.
Here's another one. Rebus left into the area. Oh, and his cross was cut out brilliantly by the backtracking Benjamin Pavard. There were plenty of green-shirted players heading into the penalty area. Well, Bayern have been all at sea at the back. They really have left themselves wide open. Corner taken short from the far side. left edge of the penalty area. Clipped in. Rajkovic has stayed forward. It's cleared away by Bayern. Only as far as the right back. Zhivogliadov launches it to the left angle of the penalty area. Bayern still can't clear it. Here's Kulikov just outside the box to the left. Can Lokomotiv get an equaliser? Oh, that was a very cute effort from Miranchuk, trying to catch Neuer out with a curling shot to the far post.
Yeah, he really opened his body up there to get the shot in, but just a little bit wide of the post there. But a good effort and very positive play as well coming into the last 7 minutes of the game.
This is Kimmich's goal that we're getting a replay of here, and it's a really clever finish from the Germany international. It might well be enough to give Bayern the points, but if they do get the points, they'll have been made to work incredibly hard, and they would have ridden their luck, because Lokomotiv could have won this game themselves.
If they've had so many clear chances, need to be more clinical in front of goal.
Well, it sums up how lively. Well, we've got an incident here. Referee Kovacs is coming across. Hernandez has been bundled over by one of the substitutes, the man who's had a couple of chances already. Shemaletinov, yellow card for him for barging into Hernandez. It's all getting rather tasty in Moscow. There's a foul throw from Hernandez, or at least he was protesting it, and as he was protesting it, Shemaletinov came over and just bumped into him. The ball is on the near side, the Lokomotiv right. They're not quite in possession of the ball because it's been given as a free kick against them. 6 minutes of normal time remaining. Lokomotiv 1, Bayern 2. Bayern took the lead after 13 minutes through Leon Goretzka. That was after Lokomotiv had a clear chance in the first few moments. Coman hit the post before half-time. Lokomotiv, remember, lost their captain, Chorluka, just before the break with a hamstring injury. Then Kimmich, a penalty that was eventually ruled out after a video review, and a Coman miss saw Bayern not take chances to extend their lead before Miranchuk equalised, and then Zé-Luis failed to feed the ball to substitute Shemaletinov, who would have surely made it 2-1, and within a minute Bayern had scored themselves through Kimmich. Here's Hernandez on the edge of the area. Lewandowski didn't score on match day 1 and might not be scoring on match day 2 either. The man who's already scored 10 goals in 5 league games this season in Germany. The most important thing here, though, for Bayern is 3 points. It'll feel harsh on Lokomotiv, but they have to take chances, and Jenna, they just haven't taken them.
No, they've only got themselves to blame. They could have been 2-1 up. It could have been a completely different story. But right from the start, where they missed that great opportunity in the first 5 minutes, it's been the story of their night, really.
They're coming forward again, though. Cleared away initially by Bayern. Kimmich is in there, sweeping up. He's been chased on the touchline by 3 Lokomotiv players. Back to Neuer. Calmly drives the ball into the Lokomotiv half. But at the moment, Bayern aren't able to make the ball stick in Lokomotiv territory. And in the end, Gnabry trips Rebus. And Lokomotiv have a free kick. They scored a late goal last week to draw 2-2 in Salzburg. Can they do it again against the UEFA Champions League holders? The team have been so dominant in Europe for the past 12 months. Crossed into the penalty area, not cleared very well at all by Bayern. Pavard, very casual.
Pavard put it straight back into the danger area there. You need to get rid of that, especially at this stage of the match.
Rebus, thumped away by Kimmich. Guilherme's come right out of his penalty area now. 3.5 minutes of normal time. Down the middle it goes. Headed away by Hernandez, who loses his right boot in the process. Here's Costa. Now it's with Tolisso on the right for Bayern. Almost in line with the edge of the Lokomotiv penalty area, and now Bayern are trying to take the sting out of the game, as you might expect. It's probably the best policy from their point of view.
Yeah, definitely. They'll just protect the ball now. There's no need to rush, do anything too drastic, especially the way this second half's gone.
Douglas Costa on the left to the edge of the area. Tolisso back to Hernandez. Out wide again to Costa on the near side. Moves towards the edge of the box, cuts the ball back. That was very inviting as it was heading across towards the penalty spot, but Lokomotiv were able to clear. They weren't able to retain possession though, and Sula goes back to his goalkeeper. Time is of the essence for Lokomotiv Moskva, who have performed valiantly tonight, but they have missed chances to not just draw the game, but win it themselves. Bayern likewise. They're the ones in the ascendancy at the moment. 2-1 they lead. The man on the ball looks to have got the decisive goal. Poor pass from the pole. Away come Lokomotiv. Great turn in midfield by Miranchuk, who was cynically tugged back by Javi Martinez, who, as we say, has taken one for the team there. I don't know if he's going to get booked for it, but it's a clear foul.
Yeah, Martinez had to go there. Lokomotiv are on the counter-attack. Had to do that.
He lost his footing. Right, now, Daniel Kulikov, who initially wasn't on the team sheet, but then came in after injury, has been replaced by Vitaly Lisakovic, the Belarusian forward. Could he be the hero and score a second goal for Lokomotiv? Just over a minute of normal time left. They're on the left now. Controlled and brought down by Rybczynski. Oh, Krychowiak's ball to the right was meant for Rebus, but he slipped the latter and the ball has gone out, and now Bayern will take as long as they possibly can. They're being hemmed in though in that corner on the far side. Pavard clears upfield into the final minute of the 90. Bayern lead 2-1. Rajkovic across the defensive line to Murillo, who's forced to go back to his goalkeeper by the presence of Corentin Tolisso. Now it's into centre field. Lokomotiv. Oh, Krychowiak shown too much of the ball to Martinez, but luckily for him, it spears out into touch for a throw. Hansi Flick looks really tense. He doesn't have many moments like that of late in Europe. He's able to sit back and have a cup of tea most nights in the UEFA Champions League in the past year, but not tonight. Forward it goes from Lokomotiv, headed down, falls to the feet of Shemeretinov. His shot is blocked by David Alaba, and now played forward, and Bayern on the counter here. Tolisso down the middle, Gnabry to the right, Martinez in the middle. Interesting choice by Tolisso to hit the ball straight. We're now into the first of 4 minutes of added time. Is it going to stay a Bayern win, or are Lokomotiv going to do it again and earn another point? And what would be a really important point? They're going to have to defend here. A lot of white shirts coming forward. Left edge of the penalty area. Costa, angle is acute. So much so that he clips the ball high and over the bar. It's going to be a goal kick.
Yeah, that was a very tight angle to try and score from here.
It's been an absolutely breathless second half. So much so that I don't think I've been able to keep up with my notes. There's been so much happening.
It's been very entertaining.
Flicked on by Lokomotiv, who tried to come forward, but Lisakovic, who scored the goal against Salzburg to get the draw last week, couldn't get it, and now Bayern come forward down the near side, the left. Tolisso trying to hit the corner, put out of play by Shavogliadov. Hansi Flick taking a few deep breaths there. He's going to need to have a sit down after this one.
Don't think he's sat down all game.
But this is a real test of champions, isn't it? These sort of games where it's not been a coasting at all. They've had to work very hard, and they have had to ride their luck.
Definitely. I think it's just about getting the job done now. You don't always win pretty. Sometimes you have to win ugly, and this is a prime example.
Costa's offside from the pass by Lewandowski. 2 minutes, I make it, of added time to go. Marko Nikolic wants things to get moving again. Turns to his dugout, asks what time is left. Not long. The Lokomotiv fans raise their voices in support, but the clearance from inside their own half is straight to a Bayern player. Now Lewandowski, midway inside Lokomotiv territory, to the left to find Costa. Not much of an intent to get forward by Bayern, as you might imagine. It's all about keep ball for the next 90 seconds or so. It's been lost though by Costa. Krakowiak. It's all over him, Douglas Costa. Zé Luís then turns into Kimmich. The referee initially wanted to play the advantage, and now there's a bit of a to-do between Zé Luís and Joshua Kimmich. A few flailing arms and a bit of pushing, but nothing serious. In fact, the two players have shaken on it quickly before the referee could step in and issue any cards, but he does want to have a quick word with them, and this only suits Bayern. Second shake of the hands. All is good in midfield. A bit of a tug by Zé Luís, which Kimmich didn't like.
Yeah.
Right, long ball forward to the edge of the area. Headed away. Not very far, though. Rebus to the left for Lokomotiv. Midway inside the Bayern half. He's desperately trying to jink his way past Gnabry. It's gone to the dead ball line now. Good work by Rybczynski to win the throw. It's about a metre from the corner flag on the far side. Is this Lokomotiv's last chance for an equalising goal? They've initially lost the ball. Krakowiak wins it back. Here he is now, just outside the area. There goes Krakowiak, shot! Oh my goodness me! It was almost in slow motion as it went past Neuer's right post. A shake of the head by the goalkeeper. It's because it took a slight deflection off Sula. It's going to be a corner. Is there time to take it? I think Neuer, well, I don't know, would Neuer have had it covered? He probably would have done.
He did well there, shifted the ball, created a little bit of space for himself and got the shot off.
We've had the 4 minutes, and Guilherme, the goalkeeper for Lokomotiv, dressed in all pink, has come forward for this. In it goes. Dreadful corner. And that, I think, is going to be the last action of the game. In fact, Istvan Kovacs blows his whistle. Warm applause from the home fans for their players who have put in a shift tonight against the UEFA Champions League holders, who took the lead after 13 minutes through Leon Goretzka. They could have extended it before half-time. They could have extended it early in the second half. But eventually it was Anton Miranchuk who equalised with 20 minutes to go. And then, well, Lokomotiv could have won it. Zé Luís and Zhemaledinov both in good positions to score before Joshua Kimmich took his chance with 11 minutes to go. A breathless second half, an excellent game, but Lokomotiv come away with nothing, and Bayern make it 2 wins from 2. The final score in Moscow, Lokomotiv Moskva 1, Bayern München 2.
Wow, Bayern's 13th straight victory in the Champions League. I can't recall them being